This video is based on Jordan Peterson's book 12 Rules for Life, An Antidote to Chaos. More rules? Really? Isn't our world packed with rules already? The truth is that in a world of chaos, where everything can collapse, we need to create order, so there would be a balance between these two fundamental energies. Rules and laws are basically a way to create order in the world. But too much order leads to totalitarianism. Too much chaos and the world is collapsing. We need to walk the line between chaos and order. And that's what this book is about. So, rule number 1. Stand up straight with your shoulders back. Jordan Peterson begins with his favorite subject, lobsters. Lobsters form dominance hierarchies. A lobster who is higher in the hierarchy tends to win more fights and female attention. Just like lobsters, humans form dominance hierarchies that play a crucial role in our lives. So the smart thing to do is to aim upwards in the hierarchy. Start with your posture. Be aware of your body language. Quit drooping and hancing around. Other people will notice that, and eventually they will start to behave differently. Speak your mind. Dare to be dangerous. And look for your inspiration to the victorious lobster with its ancient practical wisdom. Rule number 2. Treat yourself like someone you're responsible for helping. So, imagine that you're mentally sick and your doctor prescribes you a drug. That means that the worst is behind you, right? No. In fact, according to a study, if 100 people are prescribed a drug, 1/3 of them won't even fill the prescription. Half of the remaining 65% will fill it, but won't take the medication correctly. They will either miss doses, quit taking it early, or not take it at all. On the other hand, imagine that your dog feels sick. You would definitely take him to the vet and give him all the necessary medications. People are better at filling and properly administering prescription to their pets than to themselves. But why is that? The sad truth is that people appear to love their pets more than themselves. And no wonder, because life is full of despair, misery and chaos, so many lose their courage to go on. But what can you do to fix your life? Jordan Peterson encourages you to find your principles. Define who you are. Know where you want to go. Discipline yourself. You could begin by treating yourself as if you were responsible for helping. Rule number 3. Make friends with people who want the best for you. Friends are of course essential to each person's life and overall well-being. They improve the quality of our lives and keep us mentally strong. However, we should pick them wisely. Let me ask you a question. If you have a friend whose friendship you wouldn't recommend to your sister or your father or your son, why would you have such a friend for yourself? It's a good thing, not a selfish thing, to choose people who are good for you. Some people become jealous when you succeed. They withdraw their support or even punish you for it. But mostly they are dragging you down because your new improvements remind them their mistakes and flaws. So it's essential and praiseworthy to associate with people whose lives would be improved if they saw your life improve. Rule number 4. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today. When we used to live in small communities, it was easier for people to be good at something. You could be the best basketball player, the best musician, or a math wizard. Compare that to someone living in New York trying to compete with 20 million people, or even worse, the entire 7 billion we are digitally connected to. No matter how good you are at something, there is someone out there who makes you look incompetent. But imagine that your colleague outperforms you at work. His wife, however, is having an affair, while your marriage is stable and happy. Who has it better? The truth is that there is not just one game at which to succeed or fail. There are many games that match your talents. You can pick something better matched to your unique mix of strengths and weaknesses. Develop your own standards and compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today. Rule number 5. Do not let your children do anything that makes you dislike them. Many parents want their children's friendship above all, and are willing to sacrifice respect to get it. But that's not good. If their actions make you dislike them, think what an effect they will have on other people who care much less about them than you. Maybe those other people will punish them. Don't allow that to happen. Better to let your kids know what is desirable and what is not, so they become sophisticated citizens of the world. Here are some principles that will help you discipline your kids. First, limit the rules. Children often get confused and frustrated when they have to deal with many restrictions. Keep your rules simple so your kids can understand and remember them. 2. Use minimum necessary force. Start with a glare and progress experimentally, for example a verbal command, then a thumb-cocked flick of the index finger on a small hand, etc. 3. Parents should come in pairs. Raising small children is demanding and exhausting. Because of this, it's easy for a parent to make a mistake. It is necessary to have someone else around to observe, step in, and discuss. As a general rule, parents should act as proxies for the real world. It is the primary duty of parents to make their children socially desirable. Rule number 6. Set your house in perfect order before you criticize the world. Life is tragic. You have every reason to blame the economy, the capitalism, and the system. However, this mentality leads progressively to nihilism and apathy. You cannot reorganize the state until you have ordered your own experience. You cannot reorganize the economy if you can't organize your own house. Instead, clean up your life, start small. Stop doing what you know to be wrong. Stop saying things that make you weak. Do all this that you know you have left undone. Stop telling lies. Who knows what existence might be like if we all decided to strive for the best. Perhaps if all people did this in their own lives, the world might stop being an evil and tragic place. Rule number 7. Pursue what is meaningful, not what is expedient. In this chapter, Jordan Peterson discusses the death of God, as Nietzsche claimed, and the consequences this statement had to the world. To pursue what is meaningful, you first have to find what is not meaningful. To do good, someone first needs to understand what is evil. 20th century's Nazis' concentration camps or Soviet gulags can give you the answer of what evil is like. Gulag guards or Nazi guards were also human, just like we are. We should understand that every human has the capacity to be evil. But if there is such a deep capacity for malevolence in the human psyche, the opposite should exist too. The good is whatever is diametrically opposed to that and stops such things from happening. To pursue what is meaningful is to be aligned with the good. Meaning is the path, the place you live when you're guided by love and speaking the truth. So aim up, pay attention, fix what you can fix. Don't be arrogant in your knowledge, strive for humility, and pursue what is meaningful. Rule number 8. Tell the truth, or at least don't lie. First a little lie, then several little lies to prop it up. After that, distorted thinking to avoid the same that those lies produce. Then a few more lies to cover up the consequences of the distorted thinking. Then, most terribly, you become the lie. Your character has changed. A lie is connected to everything else. When the lies get big enough, the whole world spoils. The world gets a little bit more corrupted. Reality and being is based on truth. By telling lies, you distort the nature of being itself. But everyone has an internal voice that knows if you're lying or not. Pay attention to this voice. Start by practice telling things that the internal voice would not object to. Truth is the light in the darkness. See the truth and tell the truth. Rule number 9. Assume that the person you're listening to might know something you don't. Conversation is essential to every person. Conversation keeps you sane. Everyone has the need to talk about their concerns and thoughts, to talk about their everyday life and struggles. However, listening is also an important part of a dialogue. The vast majority of people are bad listeners. If you listen closely and pay attention to what the other person is saying, it's more likely to find value and learn something you didn't know. It's also more likely to strengthen your own arguments if you still believe they are wrong. This process can only make you stronger, and you will be much better withstanding your own thoughts. So learn to listen and pay attention. Rule number 10. Be precise in your speech. Often we hide small problems under the carpet. They will flourish. They will grow large in the dark. Then, when you least expect it, they will jump out and devour you. If you leave things vague, you'll never know what is one thing and what is another. Everything will bleed into everything else. This makes your life too complex to be managed. Precision specifies. When something terrible happens, it is precision that separates the unique terrible thing that has actually happened from all the other equally terrible things that might have happened. If you identify things with careful attention and language, you bring them forward as viable objects. You simplify them. You reduce their complexity. You make it possible to live with them. You confront the chaos of being. Rule number 11. Leave children alone when they are skateboarding. This chapter highlights the need for men to get more tough. Some women don't like losing their baby boys, so sometimes they keep them forever. Sometimes a mother makes a deal with herself, her children, and the devil himself. And the deal is, never leave me. In return, I will do everything for you. It's the archetype of the Oedipal mother. They do everything for their babies, stopping them from becoming independent men or taking any responsibilities later in life, stopping them from maturing. Instead, boys need to test their limits, test authority, and to be courageous. They toughen up by pushing themselves and by pushing each other. That's how they become men. Rule number 12. Pet a cat when you encounter one on the street. Jordan Peterson reminds us that life is tragedy. But sometimes there could be light in the dark, even a small glimpse. Maybe a girl dancing in the street wearing a ballet costume. Maybe a good cup of coffee in a cafe that cares about its customers. Maybe an encounter with a cute puppy. Pay attention to the small glimpses of light in your life. They are a reminder for just 15 seconds that the wonder of being might make up for the suffering that accompanies it. So that's it for today, guys. Please like and subscribe to my channel so I can make more videos. Until next time,